Oh. This song makes me think of your posture. You just need to lean your head back just a little bit.
Take it out, don't let it slow down. 'Cause this is different, this is patience. No, I'm never gonna waste it. Too much too soon, is it right now? Let me in, I'm waiting outside. Too much too soon, is it right now? Let me in, I'm waiting outside. Heaven knows I'm dreaming out loud. 'Cause I'm ready for the chase now.
Good morning and welcome to this vlog. Say hello and happy birthday.
Happy birthday to me.
So this is our 12th birthday that him and I are spending together. The contents of this video are going to include, well, I basically showed you guys my brainstorm list for 2018 vlogs, and you guys commented and shared with me through direct messages what you guys wanted to see. And the number one topic that was voted for was the difference between figure and bikini. And as you guys know, or maybe some of you guys don't know, I did compete in both in 2017 because I wanted to see for myself how I would fare in each category. And I had a great experience doing both. It was a great run for two, as I called. So my playlist on my run for two, it documents all of that. But I want to kind of give you guys a little wrap up on the differences of figure and bikini, how my training was different. Not see, that sound is crazy.
You can turn that off though, right there.
Where? We're in a loaner vehicle, so that's why. New car, who dis? I wish. So I'm going to talk about the differences of figure and bikini in terms of training, diet, body shape, body type. Share with you guys my personal experience transitioning from one to the other and then back to bikini again, which is basically what I'm going to shoot for in the future. And I'll also share with you guys why I came to that ultimate conclusion for myself. Last thing before the workout, I listened to your request and I got patula. I think that's how you say it. Actually, I really don't. Probably not.
Don't say the P.
Probably just say tula. Tula.
Yeah.
Oh, the P is silent. Maybe it's the significance. Maybe I should probably look on her website. You guys have highly recommended this online footwear company, and I was super excited to get it. And I'm not going to film the leggings review just yet, so I kept the leggings in the bag. I haven't looked at them, I haven't even peeked, guys, but I did want this hoodie, and I got the hoodie on sale. It's on markdown. I don't know if there's that many, so I'm not going to really give like a long in-depth review of it till right now. It's just going to be a quick little snippet of this hoodie. Her hoodie that's got the like asymmetrical zipper, a different color green on the inside, and then the asymmetrical zipper only comes up and you have this remaining part of the zipper. I really like that. I think it's pretty unique. I love the color blocking on the sleeves. With a size medium, but the sleeves being this big, they're okay. I wish they were just a little tighter around my wrist is all, but I do have small wrists, so that could be maybe the issue there. So I will show you guys when I get to the gym how this hoodie looks on, but I'm very happy with the color. I'm very happy with the design. I think it's unique. It's got kangaroo pockets. Love the kangaroo pockets in every hoodie. I feel like if there's no kangaroo pockets in a hoodie, I feel like it's missing a vital piece of the puzzle. The inside, it is a deliciously soft fleece. Maybe once I do the leggings review, I'll give you an update on the wash and wear of the hoodie, because I think that this material on the inside is probably going to stay soft and brushed feeling and not get pilly, but again, it could. All right, see you in the workout. Bye. I told you guys I would show you a clip of the hood, which is really big, but I like it that way. Like I said, I went with a medium here, so I have plenty of room. Sleeves kind of long, but I like it. All right, box squats. Coming at you guys in today's workout with a little bit of a voiceover. This is my second leg day of my training block. So with this day, I do want to focus a little bit on quads. So I am touching on some box squats right now because I have hit some squat PRs recently. So I kind of want to revert back to some box squats and really get on some fundamental work. on squats to help improve my future PRs in squats. I've gotten a lot of questions about my current leg training simply because I am really focusing on hamstring and glutes. So like I said, I am doing a little bit of quads. I'm still not neglecting those. And so this superset here is a superset specifically designed to stretch the quad. So I am targeting those muscles still, but I don't make it the point of my workout for the entire day. Like I used to have a quad focused day entirely. And right now I do use a little bit of hamstring and glute work here. And I do things like adductors and all the traditional bikini stuff. So while I'm in a surplus in calorie wise, I'm basically just wanting to target my areas I need to bring up, intentional for what I'm hoping to compete in the future, which is bikini. This last movement you're about to see, if you have access to this platform at your gym, I would highly recommend using it. You can actually add bands to it, but what I'm doing here, this is my last movement of the day. This is where I'm basically trying to burn out my glutes with a high volume, high contraction set. So I'm basically pausing at the top of this movement for a long time. You can't see it because I'm speeding up the clip. But then on the very last one where I feel like I was about to fail, I'm actually holding it for as long as I can. Because I feel like some of the movements that I use today are really about proper execution and proper feel of the muscle connection. It's not just necessarily about lifting heavy. Today was not really a heavy day for me. Box squats was the only thing that I went really heavy on because I had a really heavy leg set on Monday. So I wanted to go a little bit lighter today, a little bit more focused on some like accessory movements. That's kind of how I finish off. I guarantee people can hear you revving that up. He's having way too much fun in this loaner vehicle here. Oh my God. You guys ask about pre-workout and post-workout nutrition like all the time. It's probably one of the #1 things I get asked about. This is post-workout nutrition for me. This is just a rice-based cereal because rice is a quick digesting carbohydrate for me. It's like a organic brand of Cocoa Krispies. They're called like Koala Krispies. I like koalas a lot, so that's cool. I always just mix typically 20 to 25 grams of Allegiant protein in here, mixed with cashew milk, and that is what I pour over my cereal to give me the right amount of protein post-workout. Chocolate, peanut butter, protein, milk, cereal is so damn good. Okay, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the workout. See you guys tomorrow for our chat about figure and bikini and the differences, and yeah, bye-bye. YouTube, I am your father. I have no idea if that was the Darth Vader voice, but I tried to make it sound like it. Well, about 3 hours later, we have a charged camera. Thank you guys so much for voting and picking this topic. This topic is near and dear to my heart. I also want to thank you guys for contributing to the questions that I asked on my Instagram. So let's go ahead and dive into the preface for this video. But I do have a vastly deeper experience with bikini prep. I've been competing in the division of bikini since 2012, and I've done more shows than I can count, truly. I started off in the Fitness America Fitness Universe division, which is a natural division under the umbrella of Musclemania. It is a tested division if you choose to compete in figure there, which I did compete in figure there. So I did get tested. It is a natural federation. With that said, it is a natural federation the day of the test. There is not a polygraph test. So there are natural federations out there that both require a urinalysis and a polygraph test. Mine required a urinalysis, not a polygraph test. I also need to preface with the fact that I coached myself up until I won the title of Miss Bikini Universe in 2014. And after that, I competed in my first pro show in Vegas and I tanked. So I was like, well, I've been competing for so long and I think I need to reevaluate this process, trust to be in somebody else's hands. So I was in the hands of Matt Jansen, a physique coach, contest prep coach for my past 2 seasons. My past 2 seasons were somewhat back-to-back. I competed in November in 2015, and then my run for 2 was in 2016, and the season started in June, so I competed in June, and that was where I did my run for 2 for figure and bikini in the same exact weekend. And then my season ended with a show in Kentucky here at the NPC. I think it was the NPC Frankfurt show. I'm not really sure what it was called actually now that I think about it. The elephant in the room here, like when you choose to compete in the NPC, you have to choose so, knowing that it is a non-tested federation. That is your choice, that is your prerogative, and it is the most competitive, it is the most well-known. I chose to go that route, one, because my physique had matured enough to do so in my opinion, and because I wanted to be at a bigger stage, bigger competition. I wanted to play in the bigger league, and that's just what it boils down to. But understand that when I talk about this, I'm sharing my experience from a natural federation, so things could look a little different and things can be a little different, and I just don't want you guys to be watching this and be naive to that. I want to be full disclosure on the table about my experience. Also, allow you to be really objective when you watch this, because I often fight the fact that people want to make their assumptions about different federations and different athletes who compete in those federations, but I want to preface that that's not what I'm going to discuss. That's not what this is about. This is truly about showcasing my experience in prepping for both separately and prepping for both at the same time, if that makes sense. I do have notes here because this is like a really strong topic, and I feel like I want to do it justice. I feel like I'm not going to do it justice because, like I said, I feel like my depth is vastly stronger in bikini, and I had a very little experience with figure, and I was very disheartened with my experience with figure, and I think that brought me to the conclusion to become fully invested in myself as a bikini athlete. The biggest question was asked was shape differences in body types, and I would strongly encourage you guys to take out your notion of outliers. Outliers meaning those hyper responders and those people who just are genetically gifted. Like, we can't ignore the fact that there are people we see all over social media and all over competition stages that are genetically gifted. Those are outliers. So when you're thinking and watching through this video, try not to pinpoint a person or a particular body type or a particular Insta famous or Fitspo person, because oftentimes those could be potential outliers. Try to separate in your mind the actual sport of physique competing and what is portrayed on social media for a physique athlete. Let's first talk about figure. With figure, I have been under the impression that they are looking for an X frame. So what an X frame is from outside shoulder cap to outside quad, opposite outside shoulder cap, outside quad. And what that's doing is it's creating you a balanced X frame, and that is what they're looking for. Think of the back pose, or think of the back design of the suit for a specific reason. The purpose is to shape that X. When it comes to a body type or a shape that they're looking for, it's not necessarily bigger is better, or that a figure competitor is bigger than a bikini competitor. That is one distinction that I will note, that I've met figure competitors who weigh less than me on stage. I've met bikini competitors who weigh more than some figure competitors on stage. So it's not a matter of being a bigger individual, it's a matter of shape and presentation, and typically conditioning. Conditioning in terms of body fat level. So a figure competitor will typically be a lower body fat percentage than a bikini competitor in some instances. And again, this is a visual representation. It's not like the bikini or the figure competitors being tested in body fat level. But you're gonna see a lot more striations in a figure competitor and a lot more muscle separation, that's what I mean by striation, than you would from a bikini competitor on stage. With a bikini competitor, they're looking for a little bit more muscle fullness, in the sense that there's not a lot of those lines and separation. I would have to argue that muscle density and maturity do have a play in an athlete being either appropriately best for figure or appropriately best for figure. I personally feel that my physique changed drastically from the age of 29 to 31-ish. Like, my muscle maturity and density kind of took hold and grew and showcased my maturity in my body. And I feel that that's what gave me the confidence to even remotely tackle the figure division, was because I noticed those changes in my body personally, and I felt that I could progress to figure because I noticed that. So muscle density and maturity do play. I'm not saying that you have to be 29 to 30 to compete in figure, but if you're a current bikini athlete who is younger, you don't know what your propensity for muscle tissue is past 25. So I've also taken into consideration that I feel that bikini is a little bit of a younger division, or a successful division for a younger athlete, because the muscle maturity and density may not be there yet, and it could be there in the future. That's something else that I'm gradually starting to learn, is that now I have to, as a future bikini competitor and hopeful bikini competitor, that I have to tailor my training now differently to prevent my maturity and density from accelerating. One of the biggest, I guess, shape changes or body type questions that I wanted to ask: if you are naturally a broader back athlete, which I am, you could also say that you would be better to gear yourself towards figure. However, again, bigger is not always better. But if your ratio, your hip to shoulder ratio is already pretty strong, and you have already that really strong V taper look, then obviously training for figure would, in my mind, seem like a really good fit for you. Something else to consider is your quad sweep. That's something that I've noticed in a figure athlete, is that the quads are still very much so dominant on stage. The quad separation is really dominant on stage. So an athlete who already brings this to the table before prep even comes into play, before they become shredded per se or lean, that could be another indicator of, like, maybe you should consider going with figure, because you already, even before prep state, have that striation in your quads. Again, with adductors, I noticed that if you already have really strong developed adductors on stage, those are only going to be highlighted even more. So with figure in your back pose, your adductors are actually highly visible, and you don't have that like thigh gap. Whereas a bikini athlete needs adductors to enhance the overall separation of the hamstring and the glute from each other, and just create that really dynamic three-dimensional look to their glutes. But I noticed there is no thigh gap on a figure athlete who places very, very well. So that's something also to consider. Like, if your body type already has some of these details in it that they're looking for on stage, that could be a way in which you know that your body is maybe best built or best standing for one of these divisions. The next thing was diet. For me, diet didn't really change a whole lot. I did get to eat a lot more volume being a figure athlete and making that my goal. I was also training at a higher volume throughout my entire prep. So I was lifting heavier, my creatine increased. That was really the only supplement that we really increased, was creatine, from what I can remember. In my off season, I was forced to take my caloric threshold higher than I was comfortable with, in most cases, knowing that I wanted to do figure. I was programmed by my coach to have more red meat and more chicken rather than fish. And that was one of the big things that he changed that I noticed. I don't know if it was the difference in, I was just structurally more muscular. I was structurally able to eat more. I was structurally able to, or needing more iron in my diet. You know, I wish I had actually asked him, you know, what the meaning behind that was. I remember him saying it was the mineral content based in chicken and red meat over fish, but again, I can't remember that entirely, but I just remember that a distinct thing was, I was like, I don't have any fish at all in my diet. Like, I prepped, my food was easy to prep because I didn't have a lot of different protein sources. I also was able to eat a lot more whole eggs, so my dietary fats were also higher because I was eating red meat and not lean white fish, but I was also having more eggs, so dietary fats and proteins were a lot higher for me for figure. But that was really, like, carbs, I don't feel like carbs changed much. Again, food volume in general was higher, but I think in relation to my carb sources, they were all pretty much the same. And the other thing that I noticed was carbs didn't get stripped as soon as they did for bikini. So I was able to maintain a higher carb intake for a longer period of my prep than I was able to for bikini. We also did a lot more refeeds with bikini because I did have to go a lot lower in caloric intake. The refeeds were a lot like more structured. I didn't get as much freedom to refeed, like a sushi night once a week like I did with figure. In order for me to be small enough for bikini and to be tight enough for bikini, I needed to, you know, bring my food down a little bit. Other thing that I feel like people wanted to know most about was training for bikini versus training for figure. Training for bikini, the focus really truly is on glutes, delts, in particular your rear delts. I mentioned your adductors, and the reason why the adductors, like I said, were a big thing, and I've kind of noticed this over the past year in bikini. Adductor, when you're going into your back pose for an NPC, mandatory back pose for bikini, your adductors need to be visible because they create that more three-dimensional shape, like I said, between your hamstring and your glute. And I've just noticed that over the top, like people who are placing in bikini, that is what their backside is showcasing. So those are some bigger focuses in your bikini training. Also, most women are pretty quad dominant athletes, so most women who are striking the iron for bikini already are most likely quad dominant, so they don't have to focus on quad work movement. They might need to just maintain the quad musculature that they currently have, but they may not need to have a huge focus on quads like you would over hamstring and glutes. Your anterior delts, medial delts, and rear delts are very, very important, but the big focus is on rear delts. That really balances out your physique from the back side when you showcase everything from the back to the judges. Nice structured rear delts tend to pop and tend to, like I said, balance you out. Training for my figure prep, I actually, before I preface this, there is a training cycles video explained in my series. I forget which series. I think it's my Audacious Athlete. It might be the prep series that I thought I was going to have last year. But I did talk a lot about the differences in my training cycles. But I will tell you guys right now, my training splits did not change from figure to bikini. I still trained the same way with the same structure, with the same intensity every single time regardless. I just might have progressively overloaded different muscles. So with bikini preps and with my bikini off season right now, I am progressively overloading my glutes, my hamstrings, my rear delts, and my adductors and calves. But with my figure prep, I progressively overloaded my back, my shoulders entirely. I really progressively overloaded my quads so I can really get a strong separation there. I also did a lot more adductor work in general to strengthen that. So adductors work a lot in leg press. So that was like a huge movement for me that I really worked on, was leg press during training for my legs in figure. With back, I had to focus a lot on fully lengthening out and fully stretching and bringing my elbow back entirely with every back movement. I really had to focus on a full intention to grow my lats and get that lat spread wide enough. I knew that I needed to make my back very dominant in my physique. I did focus a lot on back in terms of progressively overloading and tracking my volume. That was really the only difference. Motor patterns didn't really change a whole lot. I just, like I said, I focused on progressive overload. So I tracked my volume, I tracked my intensity, I changed up rep schemes a lot. I practiced rest pauses. I did drop sets more with back movements. So it's not that I didn't do any of this for bikini. I just didn't have a full intention of progressively overloading my back in bikini. Closing out, two more topics is judging and costs. So judging, with figure, there are mandatory poses. You have mandatory front pose, side pose, quarter turns, all that jazz. It has to be matched with the other person beside you. You have to do the same pose as the person beside you. And there can be little nuances, but mostly you have to be the same. You have to be very robotic, very systematic in your figure posing. There is no leniency there. with the NPC especially. This was my distinction in my head once I stepped on stage, why I knew I was a bikini athlete. And I think it was because in my everyday life, I am very rigid, I'm very systematic, I'm very much so this is accomplished, this is accomplished, this is accomplished, this is accomplished. And when I get on stage in bikini, I'm able to kind of let that go and let those systematic tendencies release from me, and I become like this, like Sasha Fierce on stage. I'm like this, like I go into this ultra ego that does not exist in my regular life, and I actually get to get lost on stage, if that makes sense. Obviously, I'm fully in tune with my posing, I'm fully in tune with what I'm supposed to do up there, but I get to really get lost and lose those inhibitions and lose that anxiety that I typically carry around with myself in my everyday life, being so systematic and type A. That is why I love bikini, is because yes, there are slight mandatory poses in the front pose, but you get some variability in showcasing how your physique looks best on stage in bikini. NPC for bikini does have the great transition pose where you're able to add a little flair to it, more mandatory on your back pose than you are on your front pose. It's pretty much a, you know, X-frame type position where your legs are spread out, your shoulders are open, your back is upright, and you are showcasing your rear delts and your, you know, three-dimensional glutes that you hope to have on stage. I struggled a lot with posing with figure. It was very hard. It's a full workout. Like, not to discredit bikini posing because it's a workout itself as well, but it just did not come naturally to me. And what's crazy is I thought it would. And like when I'm in the gym, like checking myself out, I'll do a lat spread every once in a while, or do a quarter turn. And like for some reason, those seem more comfortable for me to do in a public setting, but yet I'm not as good at it than a bikini posing. It's very weird. I really don't know how to explain my situation here and with it, but I just knew that like I couldn't get into my alter ego on stage as a figure athlete. That was like the biggest determination for me. Now, what I have noticed with figure is as you progress into the IFBB league, you as a figure athlete are given a lot more leeway as far as presentation and model posing and what they call it. And you just get longer to be on stage. So you do have a little bit more leeway. But from an NPC standpoint, a figure athlete has mandatories. You have a set time frame and you have to get those mandatories in or you're not going to get scored well. Next thing is cost. In relation to figure, for me, like I said, red meat was high, whole eggs was high, chicken was high, so I feel like my food costs may have been a little bit higher. Again, because my food volume was able to stay higher for a longer period of time, I was therefore spending more money on food. The suit is much more intricate than a bikini suit. And typically the rhinestone pattern is far more intricate. Stoning on a bikini suit is typically, in the NPC, they recommend like a very simple stoning pattern to accent the color of your suit and to accent you. Whereas with figure, they want more of like a feathered pattern or a geometric pattern or this sort of ombre look. You just get a lot more variance to stoning patterns on stage with figure, and the suit is far more intricate. My God, my first time I put on my figure suit, I was like, I don't even know how to do this. I had no idea how to connect it and how to make it sit up over my hips correctly. So just the cut and detail that goes into the suit is gonna make the suit more expensive. Then the other thing would be posing. I had to pay far more for posing practice as a figure athlete, partially because that was the area I struggled most with. So I actually sought out more posing coaching. I spent far more money on posing practice than I did in posing coaches than I did for bikini. With bikini, I think, like I said, it's a matter of finding the poses that work best for you, that you can hit and nail in a quick time frame and showcase your glutes in the backside. So I was able to have a lot more leniency, and I was able to practice more by myself without having a second eye look over me, because I could see the details in the mirror that look best for me. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't practice or get a posing coach as a bikini athlete, but like once you nail down your routine and you film it and you go through all of those motions and practice, there's not much a posing coach can do for you in terms of changing it up until you get to like possibly peak week, where you can really hone in on how your body truly is looking and maybe make some tweaks to your posing. But with figure, it's a matter of muscle connection the entire time you're up there, and torso rotation that just has to keep developing over time. And I just found that was one of those things that wasn't coming along well for me. I think this clip is so long and I've talked so much about this, but I appreciate you guys hanging around for it. I appreciate you guys being interested in this topic. I hope I did this topic justice for you guys. I hope I gave you enough information to get started on your search on whether you're a bikini or figure athlete, or if you were just curious to begin with. But again, I am making this full investment in bikini. I hope to be on a bikini stage at some point in the near future. I truly don't know when that's gonna happen. To wrap up this video, I do have a recommended video for you guys that does cover the conclusion of my season. I guess it was 2 years ago. That covers the conclusion of my last season, which included that run for 2 where I did figure and bikini. That is, I believe, called Minding My Weight. I'll put the link in the description box below for you guys to watch that. I'll also link the training cycles video I mentioned in the description box below. But now it's giveaway time. And thank you guys so much from the bottom of my little heart. That's it. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Please hit the subscribe button. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and if you want to see more on figure / bikini, let me know. I will see what I can do in the comment section by helping answer some questions. And that concludes this video. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Mwah.
You're supposed to drop it low at the end.